So this is kind of a bittersweet video I'm making. Like, on the one hand, Henry Cavill is back as Superman. Finally, it's been so long. I cannot wait to see him don the suit and cape in a full-on feature-length film. There hasn't been an official announcement of Man of Steel 2, but like it's pretty much like confirmed at this rate. And then on the other hand, we have the news that Henry Cavill is leaving the Witcher series and is going to be recast with Liam Hemsworth in Witcher Season 4. And it's kind of like, oh. What? We're just going to start off with the Superman news because that's the news that has me very excited, and that is we're getting Henry Cavill back as Superman in the DCEU in more than just cameos, when that's just like, finally, it's been so long since Henry Cavill properly donned the cape in a meaningful role as Superman. Spoilers for the post-credit scene of Black Adam, a film that is fine. Like, just to, quickly summarize my thoughts on Black Adam. Movie's fine, I guess. The Rock was actually the best part of the film. He was really enjoyable as Black Adam. But the film itself is no Shakespeare. The script is not great. The direction is not great. The editing is very, very fast and not very engaging. It's a silly and dumb film, but I had fun with it. Like, when The Rock is being Black Adam and being all metal and like ripping monsters in half and stuff, that's when the film is cool. But throughout most of the runtime, it's kind of, I don't know, it's very messy. That kid is also the most annoying thing in that film as well, like. But when it comes to Black Adam, easily the best part of the film to me was the post-credit scene, which, I mean, just shows the quality of your film if the best part of your film is the post-credit scene. But either way, seeing Henry Cavill's Superman show up in the Man of Steel costume with the Superman theme playing, the dun 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 dun, as he, like, confronts Black Adam, it's amazing. Side note, speaking of the Superman theme, I don't mind that they played the John Williams Superman theme, but it does bug me slightly, because Henry Cavill's Superman is the DCEU Superman. He has his own theme. Hans Zimmer's fantastic theme he created in Man of Steel. The da-na, na-na. Like, it's a great and amazing Superman theme, and as a fan of Zack Snyder's work in the DCEU, but also as someone who just likes a semblance of continuity, I would have much preferred that they use the Man of Steel theme in the Black Adam post-credit scene than the John Williams Superman theme, because that is Henry's theme. The only reason DC is using the John Williams Superman theme is nostalgia bait, is to basically appeal to a mass audience and go, hey look, it's Superman. But the problem I have with them using the John Williams Superman theme is that they're not respecting the established theme for Henry Cavill. The reinvention of the Superman theme that is closely tied to Henry Cavill as Superman, they use the John Williams theme to get people to go, oh yeah, I remember Superman, I remember Christopher Reeve. Don't get me wrong, I love and adore the John Williams Superman theme. Don't get me wrong, I love and adore Christopher Reeve as Superman. But for me, if you're going to create a new cinematic universe, don't really start harkening back to something that isn't set within your universe. I don't like that they used the Christopher Reeve Superman theme in Justice League. I don't like that they used the Christopher Reeve Superman theme in Shazam, because that's not Henry Cavill Superman's theme. He has a theme, Hans Zimmer created it. But that being said, I will not lie and say I did not get hyped as fuck when they played the John Williams Superman theme in the Black Adam post-credit scene, because, I mean, he walks out of the smoke and it's all like, dun, 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 dun. Like, that is Superman's theme. Like, I know I sound like I'm contradicting myself, but it's kind of like, it's the Superman theme, okay? I fell for the nostalgia bait, and so would you, because that is the most iconic Superman theme. I think what I'm trying to say is that we need to respect the past, but also move forwards and create something new and different. Because when Junkie XL scored Zack Snyder's Justice League, when Superman fights Steppenwolf, the Man of Steel theme is played in a much more triumphant note. It sounds akin to the John Williams Superman theme. So it's kind of like, why couldn't we just do that? But anyways, Superman theme aside, seeing Henry show up in the post-credit scene of Black Adam, it made me so happy. I turned to my friends and we're all just like super excited, just like it's coming. Because obviously, like, The Rock basically leaked the fact that the Superman post-credit scene was like a thing. Even before the film came out, like I think like a day or two before it came out, he basically just said, oh yeah, Superman's in the movie, without basically saying Superman's in the movie. But I mean, just seeing Henry Cavill walk out in the Man of Steel suit with like the little curl in his hair, it was so great. Like, I know there are some, like, weird Zack Snyder cultists who are just like, no, don't have him have the curl in his hair. Make his suit more desaturated and dark. Give him the black suit from Zack Snyder's Justice League or whatever. I don't know why, like, you have to, like, crap on everything that is, like, not Snyder's Superman. Don't get me wrong. I love Zack Snyder's work on Superman. I love Man of Steel. I really like Batman vs. Superman. And I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. But it's like, Zack Snyder is not the be-all and end-all of Superman. Even though I really like his take on the character, it's like, let Henry Cavill play Superman. Because that was the thing. Snyder wanted to evolve Henry to the point where he got to play Superman, but he never really got the chance to do it because they scrapped his Justice League and all that kind of stuff, and then Justice League happened and they overcompensated. But the fact that Henry Cavill is now back as Superman is just really exciting to me. The fact now that he isn't just going to be cameos, he is going to show up in his own potential film, fingers crossed, hopefully, and he's going to have the chance to play the joyful, optimistic Superman. That's what I want to hear. That's what I wanted. That's what I want to see. I want to see Superman being Superman. Because love or hate Batman vs. Superman, there are times in Batman vs. Superman where the dialogue for Superman feels way too dark and edgy. And there are also times where Superman is basically not really the focus of Batman vs. Superman. It's pretty much just a Batman film with like Superman in it. He's in the film for what, like half an hour in the theatrical cut? And then in the extended cut, he's in it for like a bit more, like what, 45 minutes or something. But compared to Batman's screen time, like, that's ridiculous. One thing, too, that also gets me excited about seeing Henry Cavill as Superman again is the fact that they're not going to desaturate the crap out of his costume anymore. Because that's a pet peeve I have with Zack Snyder's take on Superman, is that every time they make his Superman costumes, you look at it and the behind the scenes, and it's a bright-looking costume. And then you get to the films and Zack Snyder does his, you know, heavy color grading. He desaturates it a lot to the point where the suit doesn't look blue anymore. Like, the Man of Steel suit is a bright blue, but Zack Snyder color grades it to look very, like, navy and almost black in certain shots. And seeing Henry wear that suit in the Black Adam post-credit scene, I'm like, oh my god, is that what that costume is supposed to have looked like the whole time? Because oh my god, were we robbed, because this costume is amazing. Not that it wasn't amazing in Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Justice League and all that kind of stuff, whatever. But it's the fact that the costume is a bright blue and it's never really been portrayed like that in Snyder's films, and it's like, what the hell? And with all this Superman news has come the news that James Gunn and Peter Safran are the co-CEOs of DC Studios, and that basically they are in charge of the new DC universe. And it's pretty much guaranteed that James Gunn is working on a Superman film. He's either producing it or he's going to help develop it. And that to me is exciting news. I don't entirely know if I want to see James Gunn direct a Superman film. I'd be interested in the idea of James Gunn directing it if it's basically James Gunn showing that he can direct more than just the James Gunn type of style film, that he can do a more straightforward, a more simple, and a more traditional type film that doesn't rely on pop music and, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy type tone that you establish with James Gunn. Like, you know, if James Gunn is going to do a Superman film, I don't want it to be Guardians of the Galaxy but with Superman. I want it to be Superman. But then there are also rumors that Henry Cavill wants Christopher McQuarrie to write and possibly direct, though I don't think he's going to direct because he still has to do Mission Impossible 8. And then there are also speculations that maybe Joseph Kosinski will direct a Christopher McQuarrie written script that Henry Cavill is supervising in some way. That to me sounds great also, just so long as you get Christopher McQuarrie involved in some way, shape or form, I'd be happy with it because McQuarrie is great. And moving forwards, what I really hope is that James Gunn and DC and Warner Brothers like listen to Henry Cavill, maybe even allow him to produce the Superman film, because Henry loves and adores Superman. He cares about this character. He understands this character. He respects Zack Snyder's take on the character as well. But it's the thing where Henry wants to play the character that he loves. He wants, you know, kids to leave the cinema wanting to wear capes and believing that they can be a force for good. And that's what I want to see too, and I want Henry to be the one to help to deliver that. Like, I'm not turned off when Henry Cavill says he wants to play a more hopeful and joyful Superman, because that is Superman. Like, if anyone's like, nah, I don't want to see that, you don't care about Superman. What I don't want is them to go full-on 1970s Christopher Reeve, gee golly ma'am, did you know that airplane travel is statistically the safest way to travel? I don't need that, okay? Christopher Reeve, fantastic Superman. Superman 1 and 2 are great films, but for me, those films are outdated in the sense of that when you look at Superman media, most of it tends to just pay homage to the Christopher Reeve stuff, and that's kind of it. It's like they don't do anything new and fresh. The only exception, and granted I haven't watched this show entirely, but I've seen clips from it, is the stuff I've seen from Superman and Lois, where like there are scenes where you get the Christopher Reeve type of energy and vibe from Tyler Hoechlin as Superman, but they're not necessarily just doing Superman the movie, Christopher Reeve-esque type of homages. It's just Superman, being a nice, humble, polite man, being somewhat charming. That's what I want to see. I don't want them to, you know, do things like what Superman Returned did, where they basically just reenact all these scenes from the Christopher Reeve stuff, because it's like, we've seen that in the Christopher Reeve stuff allows Superman on film to develop and be its own thing. Because for years now, Matthew Vaughn has said that he wants to direct a Superman film, and I'd be all for that, but the thing that turns me off is that basically Matthew Vaughn keeps going, oh, I want to do the Richard Donner Superman, I want to do Richard Donner this, Richard Donner that, and I'm like, no. Just make Superman your Superman. You can be inspired by Donna, that's fine, but I don't like it that we're stuck with this mentality of like Superman on film has to be Christopher Reeve and has to be Richard Donner. Because Superman is more than just that. Superman is a friend to all, and whilst I love the Richard Donner Christopher Reeve films, I also like the more human take Zack Snyder took in Man of Steel. Granted, I want Superman to be a bit more brighter and, you know, save people every so often, save a cat out of a tree, save a kid, all that kind of stuff. But I also like the more human approach Snyder took in Man of Steel, and I want that to still remain. Basically, what I'm asking for is, like, a marriage of the two. Like, you know, you can have Superman crack a smile and, you know, save the day, you know, stop a plane from falling out of the sky, save a cat out of a tree and all that kind of stuff. But then also keep in the more human elements, like his relationship with Lois and his mother. And basically, in a way, you need to basically tell a Spider-Man story, but with Superman. Treat Superman like he's Peter Parker. And that's kind of it. Like, you just have something happen in Superman's life, like Lois is pregnant, and how does Clark Kent juggle being a reporter and a potential father whilst also making sure he's taking care of Lois, who is pregnant? Human stories like that, mixed in with crazy superheroic actions of, you know, the power of the gods, because that's what Superman has. That's what you need to do for Man of Steel 2. That, and I don't think Superman will fight Black Adam in Man of Steel 2. I think Superman will fight Black Adam in Black Adam 2, I think. I don't know. I don't necessarily want Henry Cavill's second solo outing to be overshadowed by, like, oh, look, The Rock's in this film. I want it to be like Henry Cavill's film. But yeah, those are just my thoughts on Henry Cavill returning as Superman. I'm super excited. I'm super stoked. Now let's get onto the Witcher news, because that's less joyful for me. So news has come out that Henry Cavill is leaving The Witcher after season 3 and will be handing over the medallions and swords over to Liam Hemsworth, who will portray Geralt of Rivia in season 4 and onwards. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw that news, I thought it was a joke. I was like, wait, what? Why is Henry leaving? That's so stupid. That's so weird. And then you have the trade speculating that, oh no, it's because Henry Cavill is now too busy because he is becoming Superman again. He's going to be too busy to film The Witcher. Henry Cavill keeps getting injured on the set and he doesn't want to keep doing it. And most of the news outlets are reporting that the reason why Henry is stepping down is because he's going to be too committed being Superman and that he won't have enough time to do The Witcher and Superman. But then there are also these speculations from the fans and from certain news sites that one of the reasons why Henry Cavill is leaving The Witcher is not because of Superman, but it's because of the fact that he is fed up with the writer's room not respecting the source material. Because a couple of days before the news broke out that Henry Cavill was leaving The Witcher, an article came out where one of the writers of The Witcher actively spoke out about how some of the writers in the writer's room don't actually like and respect The Witcher source material. And that right there is something that is concerning Witcher fans, and that is basically the main speculation as to why people are thinking that Henry Cavill has left the show. Because Henry Cavill loves The Witcher. He loves the games, he loves the books, he actively loves the character of Geralt of Rivia. He campaigned to be Geralt of Rivia. He actively was stalking his agent, just like, hey, can I audition for Geralt? Can I audition for Geralt? Can I audition for Geralt? Am I close to getting the role of Geralt of Rivia? Please, please, please. And so it just doesn't make sense to where an actor who loved his character so much, who even publicly said that he is committed to The Witcher show for the 7 planned seasons, so long as they respect the books and source material, to leave the show. Like, it can't just be because he is now busy being Superman. Like, it seems off that you have an article saying that the writers of the show hate the books, hate the material, and it just doesn't make sense for someone who loves this character, who loves this world, who loves this books and source material, who actively campaigned to get the role of Geralt of Rivia, to suddenly just drop the show if he wasn't happy with the output the show was creating. Like, I don't know, it's weird to me, because The Witcher Season 2 is not bad, it's fine, but it also isn't like the books. My biggest complaint of The Witcher Season 2 was how they kind of just started making up things that didn't make much sense, and they weren't really following the storyline of the Blood of Elves. Because the showrunner Lauren S. Hittrich was basically just like, oh, don't worry, we're not done by telling the story of the Blood of Elves or whatever, we just wanted to do some other things, show some other monsters, showcase all that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of like, you can tell the Blood of Elves story because that story is much more interesting than the stuff they did in Season 2, because, I'm sorry, all that elf politicking was so boring, like, I did not care at all. And if the writers were so desperate to include more monsters, they could have easily have just told the story of the Blood of Elves, because, I mean, they had 8-hour-long episodes to tell that story, and they didn't. They only did, what, like, half of it? But also, just have episodes where Geralt goes off to do some monster hunting, and tell some Witcher stories akin to the Witcher 3 side missions. Because even though I haven't played the Witcher 3, I've been around my friend's house, and he's been playing it, and he played this side mission where, like, this werewolf was in love with this woman, but then this woman died, and her sister was the one that killed her because the sister was in love with the werewolf or whatever. Anyways, the point is that side mission was very interesting, and it's kind of like, why doesn't the show just do that? Because to me, the Witcher Netflix show was at its best when it was basically telling these short stories from the first book and the first season, and when they were basically just being anthological episodes. Because the best episode of season 2 is the first one, because they just tell the Nivellen story from the books. And it's really well done. Like, it's an adaptation and it's not word for word, but the solo story episodes are very good. But when they start trying to do the big overarching plot and with all the politics and all that kind of stuff, I didn't really care. And in many ways, season 2 of The Witcher, whilst I said it's okay, it kind of made me lose my enthusiasm for the Witcher series as a whole, because I bought the 4th book, The Time of Contempt. I read a couple of pages and I never really continued afterwards. I was just like, whatever. Maybe I'll finish the Witcher book series one day, but I still have 10 more Wheel of Time books to go through, so And regarding the future of the Netflix Witcher show, I don't see the show making it past season 4 now, because it's just so weird that you're recasting your main character with an actor, Liam Hemsworth, who is fine. I don't have anything against Liam Hemsworth, but I'm sorry, I'd rather Henry Cavill than Liam Hemsworth. And the fact that they announced his replacement before season 3 is even aired is just a bit weird to me. Like, imagine the press tour for season 3. You're just gonna have everyone just being like, Henry, so why are you leaving? Henry, why are you leaving? Henry, how do you feel about Liam going forwards? And it's like, that's just awkward and weird. Why would you do that? And I feel like the main consensus among Witcher fans across the internet is that they're gonna be done with the show after season 3 anyway, because 1, they're there for Henry, and 2, if Henry's leaving, and Henry is a big fan of the source material and said that he would stay for 7 seasons so long as the stories was being told justice, doesn't really, give everyone confidence that season 3 is going to be great. I mean, it might be, and I'm sure we're going to get some amazing Gaskia songs, but at the end of the day, the real reason people like The Witcher show is Henry Cavill. But to wrap things up, on the one hand, Henry's back as Superman. Yes, we won. But on the other hand, he's leaving The Witcher, and, yeah, that's pretty bad news. But those are just my thoughts on both scenarios. What are yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, follow me on social media, all that good stuff. Until we meet again, see you guys next time.